G'day everyone, it's Karl Stefanovic and this is the Karl Stefanovic Show, and my first guest live from a beautiful picture-perfect postcard day right here in Brisbane is none other than Senator Pauline Hanson. Big round of applause for the Senator, please, everyone. Cast of thousands in here. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all coming up here, all the technical people who make it all happen. How are you?
Great. Pretty good, thanks.
Excited? Nervous? Just a reminder, it is live, and for everyone at home, you can...
What do you mean live? No one damn well told me it was live. I can't believe this.
Oh, no, it's live. It's definitely live, so you have to watch your P's and Q's, if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Right, okay.
Yeah. All right, so your media person in the corner over there didn't tell you it was live?
No.
You should sack him.
As a lot of things, doesn't tell me what's going on. Just, last minute. Keeps me in the dark, sometimes like a mushroom.
Well, no one else would agree to do this, so welcome to the show.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks,
I want to make you feel better about yourself. Look, I wanted to start off with something pretty simple. Do you want to become Prime Minister of this country?
Do I want to become Prime Minister of the country? Oh, I'd love to take control of it for a while. I tell you what, the country would know what happened to it. And I'd tell you what, it'd be all for the better. And instead of being, the distress and harm and hurt and pain that Australians are going through at the moment, it's all due to government policy. So why am I in politics? To make a difference. And if I can be Prime Minister for, a little while, why not?
It would send shockwaves through the country, through the political fraternity, I'm sure, if that
Too
was
right,
to be
it
the
would.
case.
And the bureaucrats.
So would you mind looking
place.
down that camera right there and saying, I'm Pauline Hanson and I want to be Prime Minister?
No.
Why not? Because is it too hard?
No, it's not. It's going to be a hell of a battle to be there. You asked me, would I like to be Prime Minister? Yes, to make a difference, to bring in policies that will change people's lives, make a difference to them. My heart is with my country and the people out there, and I don't believe that we've been given a fair go. If I can't do it, Karl, and I can't get there, then I'll get the right people around me, and hopefully one nation will be government one day. Will I ever become Prime Minister? Who knows? I'd have to change from the upper house, from the Senate, and I'd have to run for a lower house seat, and they will stop at nothing to stop me.
But you'd be willing to do that? You'd be willing to move from the upper house to the lower house and give it a red-hot crack in the next 2 years?
There's, like I said, another 2 years till the next election. A lot of water will go under the bridge at that time. That is a political strategy movement that I will consider, and whether I do that or not. Remember, I've got my daughter standing for the Senate at the next election. First time mother and daughter ever in the Senate. And I'd love to be able to work beside my daughter. So I'm going to wait and see how it turns around, what happens. I want to see if more people are going to jump on board and support One Nation.
It's been incredible the last few months. There's been a lot going on for this country, and your polls have gone on a very upward trajectory. Your popularity is on the rise. How do you turn a good poll into a good political result at an election, at the only poll that really matters?
It is. I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. And I think it's very important to prove to people that we can, form government, maybe not on our own, but we may be able to with like-minded coalition parties out there. Also, another thing is that the people have to give us their number one vote. And a lot of people don't understand the preference system. They don't understand how the government works. They're all totally confused. And I want to put out this educational program over the next 2 years to explain to people how their preferences work, that you're in control of how you mark the ballot paper. Make sure you make your vote count.
Who would you work with in the coalition? Because they have had a stellar week.
Oh, it's been a hell of a week for the coalition, hasn't it? It's been terrible. And as I said prior to the Parliament's resuming for that 2 days, I said, don't call Parliament back. These laws have not been well thought out. I said, I'm not voting for it. I was the first one to come out and say, don't vote for them. And Susan Ley kept pushing for it. They were rushed. They were a dog's breakfast. They're not going to do anything to help the Australian people out there. It will shut us down on freedom of speech.
Do you think she gets replaced sooner rather than later? And when? Who will be the person?
Oh, yeah, it will. I told her last year, I had dinner with her last year in August, and I said to her, you won't be leader of that party at the next election. And she said, well, I'm going to prove you wrong. I said, please do. But I picked it. They wouldn't replace her till this year.
Who's a better leader?
There is none.
Okay, what about the National Party?
Um,
Aren't you going to cannibalise the vote a little if you're going for the same seats? Because the cities are going to be tough for you.
Am I going to cannibalise it? How am I going to do that?
No, I just mean in terms of, aren't you going for
No, it's not, because, see, a lot of the Labor voters are now coming across the One Nation. They've had enough of the Labor Party, whereas they would never have voted for the coalition government. And the National Party, those people out in rural and regional Australia, they're fed up with the National Party because they've done nothing. You know, when I've put up on the floor of Parliament, I've put up for freedom of speech, no support. I've put up about looking after the dairy industry, no. Who voted that down? The National Party and the Liberals supporting that. Then you've had, they wanted to dump supercritical waste in the Great Artesian Basin, the best water supply this country has. This is all the National Party. So one thing after another, and they can't be upfront and honest. They're not supporting rural and regional Australia.
Why don't you go grab Matt Canavan? He'd be good for One Nation, wouldn't he?
Matt has rusted on National Party.
What about
rusted on?
What about Jacinta Price?
Jacinta is, she's got a lot of work to do. There's no guarantee she's going to win a seat at the next election. Remember, she's only Northern Territory Senator, which is only a 3-year term. She's jumped from, which was a National Party Senate seat, into the Liberals. So where's she going to stand at the next election?
Maybe with One Nation?
Well, you never know. Jacinta hasn't picked up the phone to talk to me about it, so she might be quite happy where she is. You know, the party that shut her down, you can't say make Australia great again. So she just shut up.
All right, back to the Prime Minister, because I know you like talking about him.
Oh, this is the Prime Minister. Oh, I've actually grew up in a housing commission house. You have no idea how hard it is to grow up in a housing commission house. Oh, my God. You talk about a Prime Minister.
Not that it would be easy to grow up in a housing commission house, but...
Come on. I actually, grew up in a street where we had housing commission houses there. It was a helping hand to those people, but they had jobs and they worked. And, yes, it is a helping hand. House commission houses should not be there for people to live in them for 30, 40. And he said his mother lived in the same one she was born in for 65 years. Sorry, that's not on to me. It should be a limited time. You've been given a hand up, moving on to the next one's coming through.
Why did you walk out on his speech on the Memorial Day for the Bondi atrocities? When he was giving his speech on the National Day of Mourning, you walked out on the speech?
No.
Oh, I thought you left that early.
No, which one we're talking about down at Opera
yeah.
House? No. I listened to his speech, and I was not impressed with it at all. And it was quite interesting. I looked around the room. Less than half the audience there actually applauded him. He was, I thought he was pathetic. He said the words that people wanted to hear. Little too, too late, too little, too late, and it didn't really touch me. That was his political survival speech.
So how are you going to possibly get him out of that position? Because in order to at least get yourself into a position where you can be Prime Minister, you've got to have so many seats plugged with One Nation people, and then you maybe form a coalition with that rabble that is the coalition right now. But how do you actually mechanically, logistically do that in 2 years?
Karl, it's putting One Nation in a position that we encourage people to give us their number one vote. And we have enough Australians out there to give us their number one vote, we can start winning lower house seats. Now, the polling has us at 22%. Another poll was at 23%. But we're increasing all the time. So, yet, in rural and regional areas, we're polling as high as 40%. That will win us seats. We may not be government, but if we have the balance of power, which is a possibility, that's as good as being government, because they can't get the legislation through without us giving them support for that legislation. So that can happen in the Senate, and it can also happen in the lower house.
Haven't you come a long way? You grew up not far from here.
Yeah.
15, you left school?
Yes, I did.
17, you have your first bub.
Yep.
You've always worked hard, fish and chip shop.
Well, that was late in my life after 2 marriages and 4 kids. And,
Well, I decided to skip over
husbands
that.
never bothered all that.
I don't wanna go in-
right.
I wanna
It
go
just
into
goes
all of
on
that.
and on and on, all these things. People knew my past, actually, what I've done. I've been a businesswoman most of my life. I
Yeah.
did a plumbing business with my husband. I was up doing roofing, guttering, blockages with him, all these things that happen. And then... it's just been, cattle on the land. I've had cattle.
You're hard to kill. I mean, people have tried, haven't they, over the years, to literally kill your political career.
Oh, yeah, they've tried.
Prison would have been hard for you. A lot of
This is
people
called
watching.
resilience. This is called resilience. It's believing in yourself and believing in your country, and that you can actually make a difference to people's lives. Oh, they've tried to get rid of me numerous times, even people in my own political party, back in the days of 97, 98.
When you did that stint, though, I mean, there would be kids watching now.
Now, what stint? Which stint are we talking about?
Well, that time in the
Stunt?
clink, the big house.
In the big house? What, the first or second time?
Let's go with the second time. What was that like for you on night one? What was it like for you to be in prison?
Oh, you're talking about that time. As my girlfriend says, I was actually in hospital. She doesn't like saying the word jail.
Yeah.
I was devastated, Carl. My daughter was in the courtroom with me, and she had planned to go on holidays with her boyfriend over to New Zealand. And she said, Mum, I really don't want to leave you like this after a 6-week trial. Anyway, I said, honey, there's no way in the wide world could, on this evidence that was given, find me guilty. I said, go and have your holiday. So when I actually walked in after we had lunch and we went back, the jury was called back and they said, guilty. I was in shock. I was actually in shock. Anyway, they came up and they cuffed me and they took me downstairs to be processed. And I was in the watch house that night, the first night, after I had a strip search at the courthouse. And then they took me into the watch house. There was a fellow there and he opened up the door and of course I wasn't eating, I wasn't talking, I wasn't anyone. He said, I just want you to know my mother is Aboriginal and she fully supports you. The people around me, those guards and different ones, were wonderful. It's just that I never thought I'd end up there. I just, it's sort of emotionally upsetting me now. Goes back to a time in my life, and you have to stand up for what you believe in. I was a threat. Tony Abbott went after me because I was a threat to the Liberal Party. So they had to stop me. And how it even changed the preferences to try and stop One Nation. We had the vote out there, but they all preferences last. The Greens, the Democrats, the Labor, the Libs, the Nats, the whole lot, preference One Nation last. They have seen me nothing but a thorn in their sides. These are the elites who think that they're the only ones that can run this country. Well, look at the bloody mess that we're in.
So how did you navigate through that? Because, and I don't want to take you back to something that's very raw for you still, but how do you build yourself and navigate yourself through a time when you're wrongfully accused of something and you come out and you want to keep going back into the fray?
Everyone has their ups and downs in life, and that was probably the most
That's a fair down.
And it is. But I've always believed in myself that I do have something to offer. We've only got one country. We've only got, our democracy was fought for, lives lost by men and women, and still to this day, the personnel in our defence forces are ready to put their lives on the line for us. I don't put my life on the line. My job is to stand on the floor of Parliament and keep fighting for what they started, to protect us for our freedom of speech and who we are as a nation.
But there's something more inside of you. There's something more that is this dogged spirit that you shan't be beaten. And people can think whatever they like about you because you will carry on. But what is that element of you?
I suppose
Where does it come
over the
from?
years, I think it starts in your family home. It's watching your parents and to admire and respect your parents and even my siblings, that we all had our voices and we were never denied the right to, have a voice, have a say, have an opinion, as my mother always said, but also have the compassion. And I saw the way that they treated their staff and family members and people and friends and everyone like that, and watched my father work 106 hours a week for 25 years to provide for his family. There was no handouts, there was nothing, didn't expect anything from anyone. And I think that when I see the way the country is going, people have lost their resilience. People feel that someone owes them something. No one owes you anything. You've got to go out there and stand on your own 2 feet, leave the nest, go and stand on your own 2 feet. But we always have to have that safety net to look after those, our elderly, our, the sick, the vulnerable, and those ones that we need to look after. But the majority of people out there, there's nothing wrong with you, and you just take this country and everyone else for granted.
You do love this country, and you do a lot of miles. I had friends of mine in Julia Creek. You went up there for the floods recently, and with boots on ground for you up there, and that's just one particular day on one particular week. You're driving towards something. What's that keeps you muscling up for the Australian
people? To give people hope. Karl, people need, a lot of people don't want to be politicians. They haven't, they're in their own, trying to survive in their own little world, and it's a big world to them. But they don't feel they have the voice to be able to do it. Listen, to tell you the truth, I've got 6 siblings. I'm the quiet one of the family.
Oh, no. God, help us. Christmas at your joint must be a real hoot.
So I'm the most unlikely one to end up in this position. I've had to push myself. I really have. If I walk into a room, I'd rather sit up the back of the room rather than be up there on stage.
Really? You're not shy?
I was terribly shy as a person growing up, but I had to find that voice, especially when, after Howard threw me out of the Liberal Party, and I was confronted with all the media. And when the first media turned up my doorstep and they said, we're from Channel 10. And I said, I closed the door in his face, can you just give me a minute? And I just had to find, oh my God, this is it.
So it doesn't come naturally to you, is what you're saying, being out the front of things?
It never did in the beginning.
Yeah.
But now, after 30 years in this position, and of course a lot of TV shows and reality shows and all this that's happened, I found my feet and I found my voice.
Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
I heard a story, and I don't know whether it's true or not, but I heard as a result of your time in prison that you developed a fear of something. And I was always curious to find out from you if it was true, and that is a fear of thongs.
Yeah, right.
Is that true?
Okay, James.
James is your assistant.
Yeah. Yes.
So he has dobbed you in. So you have a fear of thongs.
I haven't got a fear of them. I just don't like them. I don't like that feeling of that strap between your toes, flopping around in them. Can't stand it. I know they're iconic to Australia.
Yeah, no.
If you love wearing thongs, go for it. It's not my thing.
But you don't like looking at them. You don't like wearing them.
No.
So I would imagine it's Australia Day tomorrow. I mean, you must have to walk out of your house.
It won't be wearing thongs, I can tell you that. I don't care how Aussie flags all over them.
Pauline Hanson doesn't like thongs. It's the most Australian thing there is.
Yeah, well, okay, there's a lot of other Australian things I can have on me or wear, not thongs. It was, look, when we were in prison, we're having face-to-face meetings with the family and that type of thing. We actually, wore thongs. And of course, I only did that twice, I think, when my father came. Every other time, I wasn't going to go through that full strip search, and that's when I had to. I wore boots, but if you're going to just visit with families face to face, you had to wear thongs. So anyway, that's it. That's about the only time. I
wanted to talk about Australia Day, and in particular the flag, because I'm very patriotic, and I see. On the sleeves and in the hearts of our veterans who serve this country, and also who are currently serving, that great passion they have for this country. Is there anything stronger than someone's belief that they should lay down their lives for this country, right? And I think for a lot of years, we've been scared of standing up for this country. We've even been scared to fly flags. And I don't know what's happened, but in the last couple of years, I think that's come back a little. And even, I might be wrong about this, but even in the last 2 months, this shocking thing happened on Bondi Beach. And ever since then, I feel like there's been a return to that spirit. And I hope people are able to do that. What do you think's happened to this country and the change in the last couple of months?
It has. I think it started with the Charlie Kirk assassination, and it was a awakening for a lot of people around the world, actually, the whole world. And they thought, here's this man who was not nasty, horrible. He was just having debates with people, but he was shot down and his life was taken from him. Then you had Bondi, and I think that was the nail in the coffin for a lot of people to wake up that life out there is very precious and will be taken at any time. And when you have these radicals out there that hate our country, hate who we are, hate Western civilization, and want to, show that mayhem, that hurt, that pain on us, then we as Australians must wake up to ourselves and say, no, we're not going to put up with this. We don't need to. And we need strong leadership to say, we're going to turn this around. And I'm so proud of those Australians out there that are, going to go out there on the marches tomorrow or go out and celebrate tomorrow, and proud to say, I'm an Australian, and stand by it.
Because I see it too, and I see it in the courage of our veterans and those who serve. I see it in the eyes and the hearts of our emergency services. I saw it in the hearts of the actions of lifesavers on Bondi Beach. That's just an everyday Australian thing, to go to the beach, and then life changed forever. But they were in the forefront of that while bullets are flying everywhere. And they're resuscitating people while they're being shot at. I mean, that's Australia. That's the Australian spirit.
It is the Australian
it's very powerful.
Spirit. But see, we've been put down under this Labor government since 2022 because he's come out, he wanted the voice. That was divisive. It's pitting one Australian against another Australian by giving them more rights over any other Australian in a democracy that we have. Then you have he stands in front of 3 flags. They've got 3 flags on the floor of Parliament. This country doesn't have 3 flags. One Australia, one flag, the Australian flag.
How is the Prime Minister to you personally? And what do you think of him personally?
Personally? Look, he's not a bad bloke. I travelled to India with him on a delegation. I saw the way that he interacted at that time with, leaders in India. I was not impressed with him. I actually said Milton Dick, he actually was travelling with us, and he would have made a better Prime Minister than Albanese. And he's Speaker of the House now at the moment. Albanese, I said, straight after he got elected, nice bloke, no leader. And I think that his views, going back to his younger days when he was pro-Palestinian, that hasn't changed. He's been controlled by the unions. He's been controlled by the socialist side of the Labor Party. He's too leaning left. And majority of Australians, I believe, are more conservative in their views and values.
We didn't see that at the last election, and his majority is now...
Oh, come on, the majority. He only got 34% of the vote. Stop pumping the guy's tyres up when they shouldn't be there for crying out loud.
I'm not pumping his tyres up, but he did win by a fair way.
He won the seats.
Yeah.
So he won the seats. That's why, because the Greens' preferences are going to Labor, and the animal justice and these socialist organisations, the marijuana party, name all these ratbags out there, wouldn't have a bloody clue what they're doing. And so you've given control to a man on 34% of the vote, 34.4% of the vote. And the coalition were absolutely hopeless in their policies, and they couldn't sell a chook raffle ticket.
You need some big muscle behind you. I remember Bob Catter, who I do love and adore. He's crazy, Bobby Catter, but I do love...
Well, we can say he's crazy. He's not a Joe Biden yet.
I love his comment. Anyway, and I was out at Mount Isa somewhere at a pub, and he said to me with this one night, "You know, the problem with you, Karl, is that you got a big hat and not a lot of cattle." I'm not going to explain the circumstances of that, but that's what he said to me. And I wonder if that's the same thing you could say about One Nation at the moment, is that you need the cattle, right, in order to have any real power to get the stuff done that you want to get done.
Of course you do.
So you're going to need more than Barnaby, is what I'm saying. What happens in the days and weeks ahead that turns that around for you?
Oh, Karl, I've...
You got something you want to tell me?
You're not getting an exclusive, Karl. But we have got a couple of things that will be happening in the next week, and then we are going to further things happening with the party. So anyway, it's about building. It's called political strategy, Karl.
Okay.
I'm not going to sit back and just think that things fall in my lap. It's about working towards this to improve the party, to move forward, to get this gain support from the Australian people. It's been bringing out decent policies. The last election, the coalition picked up my policy about the fuel excise, about the beard tax, and Albanese did. They both picked up my policy stopping foreign investment in Australia. They've done absolutely nothing about it. They're all full of rhetoric, lies. They don't follow through, and the people are waking up to them.
I'm not going to get too much into policy and politics, the politics of policy in this particular show, because I just want to, to run through a bit more about you. But you do have a significant weapon in Gina Rinehart behind your campaign now. How did she get involved and why?
Well, I've known Gina, Mrs. Rinehart, for a number of years now, and my God, what a proud Australian. She really is. You've got to give her credit where credit's due. She took a company that her father had, and she's built it from nothing. And she loves this country. She's passionate about it, even policies and views and issues that she's putting forward. Not only that, but she's into the not only mining, but in the farming sector. She supports our Olympians. She supports people all around the country, our veterans. She's forever doing that. Where's some of these others? What are they doing? Where are they supporting the Australian people? And I have a lot of respect for Mrs. Rinehart, and I'm not going to knock her support that she's been showing to me, and good on her. And people want to have a go at me and say, oh, well, is she pulling my strings? And I tell people, no one, not Mrs. Rinehart, no one pulls my strings.
She just lives down the road from me. She's got a nicer pad than me in Noosa, but she's never invited me over.
Well, does that tell you something? You better get your act together, mate.
I'm trying, Pauline. I just want one of her steaks. Is she donating to the? Is that part of the record, or what does she want out of it? Is the thing, because people have always assumed someone's a billionaire and they've got money to roll and they want influence. What is it?
Not influence. It's back in her country. She sees me as a person, as leader of a political party that is going to introduce the policies that will better Australians. It's not about Gina Rinehart. This woman is a self-made billionaire, and good luck to her. I don't knock her for what she's been able to do. Like I said, she had to build it from nothing. And, and people are getting that. She pays the most taxes in the country, royalties back to this country. She does give back to this country in more ways than one. So it's about... The other day, it was right up in the part. I've actually got more companies and big organisations, individuals now saying, we're not going to donate any more to the Liberal Party. We're actually backing One Nation. Why? Because they're fed up with the coalition that's not sticking to the conservative values. They're looking for change, and I'm going to hopefully deliver that change.
Okay, so what happens with the coalition from here? It feels like it's on the precipice of oblivion while your numbers keep going up. What would you put that down to? Is it just a clear message?
It's their infighting. I've been true to myself and I've been honest and upfront with the Australian people. When COVID came out, I was the first one. I was against the voice. I was against the legislation last week. I don't sit back and wait and see which way the wind's blowing the polls. I show leadership because I have good people around me. I have good advisors. Working with Barnaby is an absolute pleasure, and we work well together.
Some people, I
He's an
think, say, hang on, you guys are like the Donald Trump and Elon Musk of Australian politics.
Which is which?
Well, that's up to you to draw your conclusion on. But some say, oh, it's only a matter of time before it's a spectacular separation and divorce.
Oh, just like Susan Lee and David Littleproud, right? Okay.
Can you keep it together? I mean, this is part of the politics is whether or not you can sustain it over a long period.
Correct, and I can see all those serious questions and that type of thing. I don't control Barnaby. I don't control any of my senators. You know, we work well together as a team effort, and that's why, you know, they've been elected. Even our members of parliament in the states, I don't tell them what to do. You're the member there. You were elected. You do it. I'm always here if you want to pick up the phone and ask for my advice. But they've been doing a great job.
From a personal point of view, obviously you're going to have to build things over the next little bit. And my grandma, my nanny used to always say, if you're going to guess or reveal a woman's age, you know, take it down by 15. and she might be right with you.
This will be interesting. Go on.
Hang on.
Which way are you going to word this, Karl? What are you getting at?
No, I'm just saying.
You are good. Let it out, Karl. Just say it.
You've been around a while now.
Yeah. Oh, this is you're digging yourself a bigger hole here, Karl.
Okay, you're 51, and you want to get things done sooner rather than later. How long will you stay on the treadmill for?
As long as the legs keep going. I've got no knee problems. I've got no arthritis. So, and listen, don't worry. I've told my staff, all right, if I become like a Joe Biden, tap me on the shoulder. So that's all been worked out. It's in my will.
You'll just keep punching away, though?
I will keep punching away as long as I'm making a difference. You know, I don't have an ego, Karl. At the end of the day, it's who can do the job to turn the country around. And we haven't got much time left to actually make that difference. It's taken me 30 years because it's next month or the 2nd of March that I was first elected to Parliament 30 years ago. It's taken me a lot to gain the confidence of the Australian people. Things that I said back then, I was ridiculed, I was, you know, bashed around, they were called racist, xenophobic, all the rest of it. She hasn't got the education, she's this, she's that, and everything else. The fact is that now people have changed their opinion. I have people coming up and give me a hug and saying hello to me, and they're saying, I owe you an apology. And I said, oh, what for? I was one of the ones, the university students, I was one of the ones who actually protested against you. I didn't understand your message then, I do now. So we've got a lot of the people now who realise that what my message was and what I have been trying to tell them. So a lot of that I said then against multiculturalism. Isn't it funny now, even Howard, other leaders around the world are saying now multiculturalism hasn't worked. We are multiracial, but at the end of the day, we must be Australian.
I think people oscillate. I mean, depending on where you are in the country, people oscillate between Pauline Hanson, I'm so loyal to, I love her passion, and they have great devotion to you. They're proper, you know.
Yep.
And the other flip side of it is that she's batshit crazy. What's the reality? Where is the Pauline Hanson on that scale?
You know what, Karl? You want to come shopping with me sometime. I thought I'm going to duck in for 20 minutes, 2 hours later, because I'm getting pulled up with photographs or, you know, people talk to me, ask me about policy. And that's out in the general public. That the support is astonishing that I have. I don't get the hatred from these people. And these people who do, they've got closed minds. They have no idea. These are the people that don't want the system to change because they're profiting out of it. And if you really love this country, you will listen to what I have to say. What is wrong with calling for equality for all Australians? To make, you know, the kids out there resilient, to build prosperity so our future generations will be able to have the services that they require, to look after the aged, the sick, the homeless.
There'll be a lot of young people watching now on TikTok and YouTube, and your questions are coming through thick and fast, and I'll get to those in just a second. But what would you say to young people in this country? Because it's easy to bag them, right? And I think a lot of them don't have a voice. They don't know how to articulate it, and there's not an audience for it, you know, that can be amplified. When we look at the price of houses, interest rates, the cost of goods and services, Yeah, it'd be overwhelming for a kid. How do they make it in this country?
That's not just the kids in this country that are facing that. We've got pensioners, we've got people that middle income workers are actually dealing with the same issues of what you just explained for it. The cost of housing has skyrocketed in our country. Why? Because foreign investment in Australia is allowed to happen. And we've got thousands upon thousands of houses. You know, since I think it was 2017, about 62,000 houses have been bought up by foreign investors. They're supposed to fill out a form that states that they actually have to say whether they live in it or whether it's vacant. You know, of that, only 8,500 have put those forms in. The government's done nothing about it. I want to stop foreign housing, ownership of our foreign housing. I want to stop foreign students buying up the houses as well and living them here. Those houses should be for the Australian people, plus our farming sector as well, should not be bought up by foreign investment in the country. You look at the mass migration, that's another impact on our housing in Australia. In 1 year, 739,000. What we've been bringing in lately is 1,560 people a day into the country. Unsustainable. Then you look at, you know, our universities. A lot of Australians don't have the opportunity to go to universities because they're selling the places to foreign students. Why? They should be for our Australian kids first and foremost. So there's a lot of things there. What have we done to support the trades in Australia? Nothing. I tried to get that policy up. Initially, the coalition did, and to get tradesmen and women. We shouldn't be bringing in these people from overseas. We should be ensuring that our kids are trained to take on these positions, whether they want to be in the trades or whether they want to go on to academic levels.
I think the level of migration has certainly worked its way into popular thought. There's got to be a balance there somewhere, right? I mean, you ran a small business, a number of small businesses. There's a bunch of workers coming in from overseas now that are needed. There's a business yesterday that I was at, Nepalese, are here working. So what is the right balance for Australia? How many and what, you know, what sort of skills should they have?
Karl, it's in a managed way that we should be doing it, and it hasn't been managed. We've allowed too many people in the country and we don't have the housing. As of a couple of years ago, we were about 650,000 houses short of what we need for the population that is here. We've got people that are coming in on student visas, giving up their course within the first 6 months and then going on to bridging visas, which is 300,000. Nearly 400,000 people are on bridging visas in this country because all they want to do is stay here, work, and then send money back home. So we're being taken for fools and mugs in Australia of these people saying they want to get an education here, who actually then get an ABN number, go out and start working. We've got up to $15 billion a year is leaving our shores of money being sent out of this country. So immigration, you know, I'm saying at the moment, let's cap it at 130,000 a year. Let's review that in a couple of years' time once we get people off our streets into some housing and bring your housing costs down as well for people where they can afford it.
Okay, let's get some questions from everyone at home now. Thank you so much for that. Just put my glasses on because I'm also 35. Miss George on Instagram says... Miss George on Instagram says, how would Pauline be likely to respond to acts such as burning the Australian flag? I mean, burning the Australian flag, I don't know how that's not illegal. But how would you respond?
I know, Howard would never make it illegal.
But why not?
It should be,
yeah.
And that's what I'd do. I have actually said that on the floor of Parliament to introduce it, and it was voted down.
Okay, but you would make it illegal or
yes,
try?
Most definitely.
Okay, we've got Matt Bowen who says, how much has Gina Rinehart contributed to the party?
She hasn't. She's made some, you know, assistance and help and some functions that she's put on for people to attend.
Who would crack Don Sticks? Someone having a go. This is like one of those Simpsons episodes. Cracked on Sticks, or whatever. Says here, he's on YouTube. Who will be a One Nation choose to be the leader of the House of Reps?
Well, you can't do that till after the elections. So then you have to see who's elected to the House of Reps, and then that decision will be made by the people, by those elected members.
Steve Byers, 6849 on YouTube. Your party has been polling strongly in recent surveys, reportedly even ahead of the coalition in primary votes in some polls. What is your strategy to convert that into seats? So elaborate maybe on what we said before.
Hard work, putting out good policies, and also to encourage the people come on the journey with me that is your life any better now under the coalition or the Labor Party? And we're going to offer you something different to give back pride in your country, a future for our future generations, and to look after the aged, the veterans and different ones. We need to reduce our debt so that we can actually then, get out of this 1.2 trillion debt that we have, because we can't afford to keep paying back the high interest rates, about $50 billion a year.
Your door's open, and I presume by what you haven't told me, there's stuff cooking in there. But sorry. So yeah, that was from Blake Franklin, 1989 on YouTube. What coalition members are you targeting, and who are you in talks with to get on board?
Well, like I said, you're not getting an exclusive out of me.
No, this is not for me. This is actually responding to one of our viewers, so you can't blame me for that question.
No, so they're asking me for some information, sensitive information.
Same thing.
No, national security, I can't release that information.
Okay, but we will be surprised by it. And will it be a surprise for the coalition? An unpleasant one?
Yeah, pleasant one.
All right. Jenny5588, thank you, Jenny, for your message on TikTok. She says, what's your relationship with Donald Trump?
Well, I don't have a relationship with Donald Trump. I don't even know if he knows who Pauline Hanson is. I think he does. But I haven't met him. I only sat across the aisle from him at the Mar-a-Lago at the Halloween party. So I'd like to meet him. You remember, I've been around for 30 years. He hasn't been around as long as me. We do have some things in common. Both on Celebrity Apprentice, and I was in prison, but he was on his way there. But anyway, got out of that one.
Man.
So anyway, I like his policies. I'm all for it. But I've been saying long before Donald Trump.
He's got some dramas at home at the moment. That Minnesota stuff is wild.
It is wild.
Lionhearted 001 on YouTube. Why did One Nation vote against penalty protections for workers, given we're in a cost of living crisis? Why cut worker entitlements?
If we voted against it, and I can't recall that bill, so sometimes people get it confused whether I did vote for it or not. The number of bills that we passed in the House, a lot of these bills too, you don't have time for consultation. The Labor Party don't talk to me about anything. We've given the bills at the last minute, then they shut down debate on it, and 220 bills were actually guillotined the first sitting of Parliament. So they have the support of the Greens, and they just put in whatever they want in that bill. Unless you know what's in that bill, and the implication it's going to have, you can't just, like the coalition did. They went in support of the hate speech laws last week. They had no idea the impact it was going to have on Australians.
It's 500 pages too. It's a
yes,
lot.
It was.
And I think it is beholden upon them to explain that to the Australian people. That needs to be done.
Of course it is. They didn't have debate on it, Carl. We only got the bill through at 10 o'clock in the morning, expected to vote on it that afternoon.
Okay, yeah, I saw your message about that. Truecast Outdoors on Instagram. Again, I'm thankful no one's winding me up with the names. If we look back our minds, not a buyback, if we took back our minds rather, not a buyback, but simply a take-back scheme, offsetted profits of those mines and minerals through exporting, would we not be able to wipe taxes in half, also creating more government jobs for Aussies?
I don't really understand what they're trying to say there. Take back the mines. Are they saying someone else takes back the mines?
No, I think we're saying we do. Like, as government, and we actually get some money, rolling through, keeping it here. I mean, you look at some of the stuff we export, and clearly we're not taking advantage of it to build infrastructure. I think that's my interpretation of it.
It's not for government to get into private enterprise and things like this. It's up to investment in Australia and people to actually start those companies. Do you think the Australian government would have actually gone out there and started up the business that Gina Rinehart or anyone else has? Governments are there for three things: the rule of law, adhere to the Constitution, and the economic stability of the country. It's not up to them to get into telling people how to run their lives or their businesses. So that's not the job of government. Although I do believe government should be in control of your essential services, gas, water, electricity, and the defence forces, and to maintain and give that service to people at cost with a little bit of extra on top for maintenance.
I think everyone's very conscious of the environment now, but we sure do export a lot of coal, and they're building a lot of coal-fired power plants in China. Is it not a policy that you would support, building more coal-fired power stations in this country?
Of course I have, and I've said it over and over again. It was the Nats that picked up my policy on that one. I've advocated we'd build a power station at Collinsville, North Queensland, one in South Australia, and then, look at building a nuclear plant on the east coast of Australia as well. But do it in a small way and explain to people, consult with the people and bring them on board. But if we've got the resources here in coal, these coal-fired power stations, about 90% emissions free at the moment. You've got to have a diversity of power. I am not for wind turbines. I am only for solar panels on people's roofs or houses, not on agricultural, especially productive agricultural land. It's disgraceful.
What about Jazzy Yarborough on Instagram says, what do you think of Karl's hair today?
Well, Karl, it's not too bad. I'm pleased to see there's no mullet there. I can't stand the mullet. Sorry.
Some of it was made overseas, of course, Pauline. So
what was made overseas?
It's like...
Is that real? Your hair's real, isn't it?
Okay.
Right.
There's no need to get personal.
Well, you asked me. I thought you said it was made overseas.
Enough of those questions. Yeah. Okay. So some personal questions, if I can. How are you going personally with life? I mean, you're committed to the job and everything. Is there any chance of, love for Pauline Hanson?
At my age? The age you couldn't say earlier?
I don't know how old you are. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Karl, I'm happy where I am in my life. I've had 2 previous marriages. So anyway, and I've been single since 1987. And my life now, I don't think a man could put up with me, actually. I'm hardly ever home. I'm on the go. I don't have any cats, dogs, anything that I need to look after. So, and then when I'm told to pack my bag and I'm on the road, that's it. I'm up and gone.
Are you feisty?
Of course I'm feisty. If I wasn't feisty, you wouldn't be here. What do you expect from me?
You and I...
Do you think I'm a pushover?
No. No, I'm mildly scared of you. There's no doubt about that. But over the years, you and I have had some terrific, interactions.
Yeah, I know. And I got a bloody bone to pick with you,
No,
mate.
no.
No, you brought it up. Yes,
I
you
didn't
did.
want to. No, I just wanted to say it's great to be able to.
Right.
Have a fisticuff with someone, but then be able to sit down with them and have a
Well,
spirited
I
conversation.
did agree to do the interview.
Yeah.
But, there's been a couple of times there. But then again, I stuck up for you. Remember that interview? And when I went on the Today program with Deborah, and I don't know who the other one is. Anyway,
Georgia Gardner,
there's 2 females. Anyway, and then she says, I'm going down the polls. And I said, well, you need to look at your own polls and bring back Karl.
People thought that I'd put you up to that. I had nothing to do with that.
No, you didn't have a clue.
No, zero.
So that was live to air that day. But anyway.
Thank you for coming on the show today, the first Karl Stefanovic Show. Is there anything you'd like to say to everyone at home before we let them go about their beautiful Sunday business? And also, if there's a wider message about Australia Day today, because like you, I do love this country. And I want it to be unified, and I want us to fly the flags with pride.
You are so right. As I say to people out there, a lot of people made this their home. They've come from, many places around the world, come out to make Australia their home. And they've done it tough. Why did they come here? For a new way of life. And they don't want to see division. They don't want this country to become like the place they left. I am an Australian that stands up and will have an opinion, have a say and fight for my country. And that's what we all need to do, is know who we are, what's precious to us, our family, our loved ones, and respect the men and women that have fought and died for this country, the sacrifice they've made. I'm sick and tired of these agitators out there, these hate people with hate in their hearts for this country. May I suggest go and catch yourself a plane or a boat and leave. A lot of Australians will encourage you to do that. We need to be united, we need to be strong, and we need to show our pride in our nation and our flag. And we are Australian.
Pauline Hanson, thanks for being on the Karl Stefanovic Show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And to all of you who have sent feedback in, thank you so much. We really appreciate you tuning in today. Stand by for the next one, and I'll see you down the country road sometime. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Hang on, we're still on? You wanted to do something?
Yeah, I did.
Hey,
Karl,
we haven't gone yet.
No, just wait a minute. Don't go anywhere. Karl, I've got something for you, okay? From the super progressive movie.
Oh, this is the new movie you've got?
That's a new movie.
Okay.
And it's coming out. Hey, listen, they tell me you've already watched it.
I have.
I haven't even seen it through, and I did the voiceovers. So anyway,
All right, I'll
there's
wear
a couple
that
of things for you. Well, look at that.
And I'll
Should I
watch the
have?
movie. Happy Australia Day.
Thank you.
That's it for now, for sure.
Bye.
Before it gets too intense.